tend to get overwhelmed by wine lists, and sometimes they feel uneasy about choosing and tasting wine in a restaurant. And there are many reasons for this, and some are there's just too many selections on the wine list, and they're not really familiar with wine. So I'm going to provide you with some guidance on how to choose a bottle of wine from the list and how to taste it. So first of all, we need to know what a wine list is. A list of wines prepared by the restaurant, providing the customer with a selection of wines from which to choose. It's usually written by the sommelier or by a head bartender or someone in the restaurant who knows about wines. A sommelier, according to the American Heritage Dictionary, is a restaurant employee who orders and maintains the wines sold in the restaurant and usually has extensive knowledge about wine and food pairings. So obviously a good person to talk to. The wine list is presented like a menu, and sometimes it is included with the food menu, normally at the back, but most of the time it's a menu unto itself. I provided you with a sample from a restaurant called Osteria Marini, which is located in New York City, which I had the pleasure of eating. As you can see, it's pretty overwhelming at first. There's a lot of pages to it. Normally, the wine list starts with wines from the glass. So you can order a glass of wine, and it normally starts with bubbles, which is champagne or sparkling wine. And it's good to know that champagne can only be called champagne if it's made from grapes that come from the Champagne region of France. Otherwise, it's called sparkling wine. And then normally, the next you'll have white wine, and then sometimes there'll be a rosé offering, which is a very, very light style red wine. And then red wines, which are your heavier wines like Cabernet Sauvignon and Cab Franc, Merlot. And then the next portion of the wine list will normally go into your bottles. And again, it's going to go from lighter style to heavier style. So you're going to have, again, sparkling whites, reds, and usually there'll also be a dessert wine, which are fortified wines. They're going to be very sweet and very high in alcohol content, and they're going to be very heavy. It's not something that you're going to want to order with your dinner. It's made strictly for dessert. So when you're looking at the wine list and you're trying to decide, the first thing you're going to ask is you want to speak to the sommelier. So the sommelier will come over and talk to you about the wine list. The first thing he's going to ask you is, what's your price range? So you need to know about how much you want to spend on the wine. The next thing he's going to ask you is, well, what do you like? Do you like white? Do you like red? And he's also going to ask you, what are you going to have to eat? So you should have already looked at the menu and decided, well, this is what I'm going to be eating. Sometimes, in terms of pairing, though, you don't always go white with fish and red with meat, because sometimes if you're having like a roasted chicken or a pork chop or a veal chop, those might go nicer with a heavier style red, like a white, or a heavier style white, like a white Bordeaux. And then again, if you're having like a swordfish or a tuna steak, those are heavy meats. They're almost like having a big steak. So you might want a lighter style red, like a Pinot Noir, or a French Burgundy, which is also Pinot Noir, or a Gamay, or a Beaujolais. If you don't care about pairing your wine with food, you may just tell the sommelier, well, I just really want a red wine, or I really want a white wine. And so then this will help him to pick a wine for you. A lot of times I don't pair with my food because I generally like red wine. So I sometimes